Good morning from the trailhead at the Black Bear Wilderness area. We are getting ready to do this beautiful 7.1 mile hike today, and we are here to celebrate June 7th, 2025, which is also National Trails Day. So let's go hiking. The land manager for this beautiful park is Seminole County Parks and Recreation. So we're in the parking lot area right now, and we're going to be starting this hike at 6:30 a.m. The gates open from sunrise and they close at sunset. And you can see right off the bat that this trail tread is actually a walking path, and it is cement. Just look how beautiful this is. Wow. So this area is just pristine, and it has been historically here for a long time. We're going to talk more about it. So there's a lot of information actually online related to the Black Bear Wilderness area, and you can print a map like this. There's an interactive map as well that you can download, and when you get to the actual parking lot and the trailhead, there's a huge map here that you can see. But this is what a typical map looks like as we continue on this hike. Let's keep hiking. So you can see that it transitions from the parking lot to a more sidewalk type of trail tread. Now we're on a more of a, it looks like definitely ADA accessible pathway walk. Pretty typical for a lot of these parks, which is awesome because it puts you above some of the wet areas here. As we walk through here, we're gonna try to be as quiet as possible because you can hear a woodpecker in the distance. It's actually off to my right on the start of this trail. You can see the ADA accessible piece of this initial walk here just winds through this nature and this green space. It's so beautiful. The sounds of nature all around us. You can hear the bugs. You can hear the lizards in the leaves of these palms. So beautiful. And I can tell you I'm the first on the trail today because I'm going through spider webs. You can see this is just a very peaceful start, great start to this 7.1 mile trail. And as we head towards the trail tread that's going to be more natural, we'll talk a little bit about this Black Bear Wilderness area. It's in Sanford, Florida, which is part of the Seminole County. And you can already see the blue blazes here, right here to follow. And there's a nice little sign here that tells you about this as well. It says, "Attention, please read." So we'll just go over the sign just real quick. It's in front of me here. Length is approximately 7.1 miles. Time to hike is 3 to 5 hours. The trail is a remote natural trail with areas of challenging terrain where emergency response is limited. Please make sure you are well prepared with appropriate hiking gear and read all the information provided below. You will encounter rough, uneven terrain, slopes, ledges, tree roots, holes, which are also animal burrows, slippery conditions. You may also encounter fallen trees, flooded trails, wildlife, bears, alligators, and snakes, poison ivy, thorns and vines, and also some stinging insects to top it all off. So recommended gear is hiking shoes or boots, water, cell phone, bug spray, and hat. And there's some tips here saying staying on the trail. Staying on the trail will reduce your chances of contact with wildlife or poisonous plants. Watch where you step, where you place your hands, and where you sit. If you do so, your reward. This is an amazing trail that often rewards its visitors with exciting wildlife sightings, as well as beautiful views of the St. Johns River and its surrounding habitat. It's a great way to get exercise and enjoy the wild side of Seminole County. How you can help. To sign up as a volunteer to help maintain this trail, please call 407-349-0769. And it says also, please report fallen trees or other trail issues. Trail passes point does not comply with trail accessibility guidelines. Let's continue hiking. So we're getting ready to go off of this raised platform here, this walk, and we're gonna get on this trail tread and let's go hiking. I can already see the roots, I can see the ground, and I'm very excited. Right off of the ADA accessible walking area from the parking lot, you quickly are on the trail, the more natural side of this trail, and it is beautiful. There's a little bit of elevation, there's some seating, but the trail tread is mud, some sand, there's some roots right off the bat. And we should be coming up to a junction here in just a second as we're going to continue heading towards the St. Johns River. So the St. Johns River is going to always be to our right as we're hiking, and then on the way back, since it's a loop, it's going to be on our left. It's a little bit after 6:30 a.m. and I wanted to get an early start on this beautiful green space because I'm sure it gets busy. I'm sure we'll see some other hikers as well. Right now we're just going to enjoy this 7.1 mile trail. Let's keep hiking. Okay, we've reached our first Black Bear mile marker, which is at 0.25 miles. And these are actually safety markers as we go through here, because there's blue blazes that we're following, which you can see right in front of me. These are going to be every quarter mile, it says on the map. So let's take a look out. Let's keep a lookout for these, and just it'll keep us in check on where we are as we keep continuing the trail. Let's keep hiking. The trail this morning is definitely dry, at least this part, but look at this beautiful landscape. There's so many different plants and different types of ecosystems in this one park, and to be enjoyed for its beauty is so easy, and that's what we're going to do today. Maybe we'll see some animals, maybe we'll see some insects. I hear a lot of birds. I'm trying to keep my voice down so we can enjoy this, but it's just so exciting to be here today. Just feel privileged to be out in this green space, and just so excited that you're here with me today to share this experience. We focus a lot on the benefits of hiking and mental health, which is just apparent as soon as you even just pull up to a trailhead like this. Just so beautiful, gives you that burst of energy. And if there's anything going on in your life, stress-wise, whatever it may be, sometimes it just surprisingly disappears for a little bit. And that's the idea. That is one of the most prevalent benefits of hiking, being outdoors, being in nature, being in this green space. Let's continue hiking. We're still in our first quarter mile of the Black Bear Wilderness Trail, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm experiencing. I am on a well-worn trail here that is just being hugged by nature, and there's water catches on both sides, because I know a lot of this backfills from the St. John's River, and all this vegetation needs that water to thrive. On the trail there's some muddy spots because it does rain in Florida, and obviously it just accumulates, but other than that, the little section of trail that I'm on is actually a little bit harder. It's not soft, but there are some muddy spots, so you gotta be careful. So we're at the 0.5 mile marker here, and these markers are going to be throughout the actual trail, so we will keep an eye out for those. We're still in our first half mile of the Black Bear Wilderness Area Trail, and it's just beautiful. Keeps giving that essence of nature every step of the way, every turn, over every route. It's just so beautiful. Now, we won't be recording the whole trail because we're trying to figure out the best way to record these longer trails as we're training for through hikes. And that being said, we're going to be recording pretty much every mile marker that we find, as well as anything that pops up that looks cool, or a unique experience, such as an animal encounter or a beautiful flower or something along the trail that just catches my eye. But as we're going through this trail right now, like I said, not even the first mile, just not disappointing at all. So beautiful. The weather's about 80 degrees. The sun's not fully up yet. Our pack feels good. We've got our Trekology trekking sticks. We got plenty of water. Today I'm hiking with 4 liters of water, 2 of which are Gatorade infused powder with water, and just plain water. But we're going to walk just a second here so you can hear the birds. They are awake this morning, and they are saying hello. And if you're quiet out here, it's just so loud with nature. So beautiful. I can't emphasize that enough. I'm actually on a raised portion of the trail where the trail tapers down to, on both sides actually, to water to catch, I guess, the runoff, etc. But even looking at the ruggedness and the roughness of these areas is just very tranquil, very peaceful. Even though this ecosystem is, from my perception, definitely thriving. The smell is phenomenal. It smells fresh. I smell trees, vegetation. I smell the soil, the sand of the trail tread that I'm walking on. I hear the bugs, just constant, almost a white noise of bugs, insects, birds. And we've come to our 0.75 mile trail marker here at the Black Bear Wilderness area. So again, these are for in case of safety, in case of emergency, but they also for tracking the distance if you're just walking without a map. So looking at the mile 0.75, this is what it looks like on the map. So I'm getting ready to go around a bend. So this trail is progressing pretty well. Let's keep hiking. Again, more of the same type of trail tread and nature in the 0.75 mile length here. It's just getting up to a point here where we're going to see the sunshine. I wanted you to see that poking through the canopy here. So beautiful. Can you see it? There it is. There it is. Good morning sunrise in all your glory. Wow, that's special. I'm glad you were able to experience that with me. So we continue on this trail. I'm seeing some birds. I'm seeing some slippage on the trail, I guess. I don't know if it's from animals or hikers or whatever it may be. You can see the terrain is shifting pretty quickly. A little technical here. That's okay. Nothing we can't problem solve. We've got our waterproof Merrells on today. And we've got options for gaiters. We've got options for different types of configurations of how to carry the backpack, the water, carrying bear spray, carrying a fixed blade knife as well from SOG, carrying 4 liters of water, 2 of which are Gatorade. That's going to be a permanent staple to my essential gears, Gatorade, to get those electrolytes. I found that out recently on a 12.8 mile beach hike. I really needed to replenish. So we're coming up to a wooden structure here. And we're still on the 0.75 mile marker length. There's a lot of signage here about wood storks and different types of animals here. It's pretty clear on which way the trail goes, which is cool. You can see it there in front of me. So it goes across a access road, and we're following. I'll take a quick picture. We're following these. Oh, look at, there's a squirrel right there in front of me. We're following these blue blaze markers right here that are on the entire trail. I don't know if this squirrel is going to follow me for a little bit. I'm not going to feed you, buddy. I'm sorry, I can't feed you. He's right with me. It's the first animal encounter. Hi. Oh, he's used to people. He let me get pretty close, but again, not touching animals and not feeding them. And we're on a raised platform here, probably a good 8 or so feet off the ground. But looking down at what we're walking over, we probably wouldn't fare too well with that as we trek through here. It takes us a little bit of time to get through that muddy muck. But again, if it's part of the trail, any trail's a good trail. So this is a more of a synthetic type of wood. This boardwalk goes on for a little bit here. But just listen to the bugs. I'm going to stay quiet here for a second as we walk. We are definitely in wild Florida. See the cypress trees. We got even signs in here about the American alligator, so they're in here too. And if I'm not mistaken, maybe either the beginning, end, or middle of mating season for them. Oh, look at this. We're at mile 1 marker right here. And we are in for a treat, friends. Let's keep hiking. All right, we are still on the boardwalk. And we have just reached the mile 1 marker. This is phenomenal. We have reached the St. Johns River. We knew we were coming across here, and there's a lot of mosquitoes. Lots of mosquitoes here walking on this path, so make sure you got your bug spray. Because they are hungry. Well, that was a treat. So beautiful. All right, we're going to continue off of this boardwalk on back to the natural trail. So still in the first mile, so let's keep hiking. So I want to show you just real quick how close we are to the St. Johns River here. And a large portion of this Black Bear Wilderness area is built on top of a levee, which I'm on right now. Don't know exactly how far the levee goes. We can calculate that if we need to. But it's definitely a cool experience to be elevated like this on a trail and see the St. Johns River on my right and seeing the wetlands, the swamp on my left. But the levee, what I understand, has sections of it so the water from the St. John River can filter in and feed the ecosystem and all the vegetation and the trees that are nestled within this green space. So you can see as I'm walking, it's a little technical, lots of roots, lots of trees, which is expected. Just the way it is winding through nature is just very special. So let's keep hiking. So we've reached the Black Bear Wilderness area, mile 1.25. So this is the trail marker for this as well. We've got some trail runners we're making way for. So we're going a little bit slower than folks running. Good morning. So we're gonna continue hiking from 1.25 miles. Let's keep hiking. So definitely a multi-use trail. I've seen 2 joggers this morning and 2 other hikers that split off and went the different direction than me at the start of the trail where the boardwalk was for the ADA accessible piece to the trail. But hey, it's cool to see folks out here. Sometimes you're on trails and you don't see folks for hours and hours and miles. So, folks are out here for a reason. Each has their own reason. And my reason is what we're seeing in front of us right now. Just being in nature and spending more time in nature and outdoors and exploring the multitude of benefits on mental health as well as physical health. I'm already sweating. We're approaching another, looks like a boardwalk or bridge here. Black Bear Boardwalk number 3. So let's explore. Oh, it's gonna take us right out onto the St. John's River. Look how beautiful that is. So it's pretty unique to have these boardwalks in these areas of just pristine nature, given access to areas in which we probably wouldn't even be able to reach without some difficulty. You can see we're hiking right across this boardwalk, and then we'll continue on back to the natural trail tread. It's almost like feels like a little treat from the Seminole County trail builders to put us out there to be able to enjoy that scenery of the St. John's River. And as quickly as we get off the Black Bear Boardwalk 3, we go right onto the 4. So you can see that there's a few areas here which they said, hey, we need to access this. And we want everybody else to access it too. So thank you very much for thinking about this. It's definitely a unique opportunity to be this close to the river and to be able to be elevated enough that we don't have to get soaking wet right off the bat walking through here. So we're still within the 1 mile range, so we should be hitting about 1.5 miles here shortly. So we'll touch base in a little bit if we see anything interesting. All right, so we're coming around the bend and we see the mile 1.5 mile marker here, the safety marker on the trail. So there's again, very consistent. As we go through here, you can see on my map here, the little blinking blue dot is where we're located right now on the levee. And to my right is the St. John's River. Let's keep hiking. And we're approaching the Black Bear Boardwalk number 5, which is another walk over this beautiful river. Let me take a picture real quick. This gives us a little reach out towards the Johns River, which is to my right, as these areas also provide a filter for the wetlands that are in the middle of this beautiful wilderness area. You see, they're not long. This one's pretty quick. You can see it extends just a little bit, and then right back to the natural trail tread. Let's keep hiking. All right, so we reached the mile 1.75 marker, and we just heard some boats go by, causing some waves, some wave action in the St. John River. And they were steaming to their fishing spot. And we just went through a little bit of technical trouble. There's a hog. Look at his hogs right there. And if you saw him, he was up here. There's a couple of them down there. Let's keep going here. There he is. There's a couple of them down there. I don't know if you can see them right there. There's 3 right there. Big old hogs. All right, let's keep walking. This is their land too. And I'm just a visitor. So there was, I guess, one up on the levee a little bit, and I guess he saw me and got spooked and ran down the hill. It was a big old hog too. So we got all kinds of different wildlife out here. You can see how technical this trail is around these roots. So I'm very happy to have these trekking poles. Look at this little area right here. Wow, this is going to be technical. Just look how raw and beautiful it is. You got to find your own path here through these roots, and then we're free and clear for a little bit. But that's kind of how the trail is nestled on top of a levee, for at least at this part that I'm on now. And the St. John River to my right, which has got a lot of activity on it. It's very beautiful. I think it's the first time I've seen it in all its glory. It's very special. You can see I can maneuver around these roots pretty well, but that's what you're up against on this trail. So let's keep hiking. All right, we're approaching the Black Bear Boardwalk number 6. Take a quick picture of that as we walk through here. Again, just being able to walk over some of this area right here. Actually looks like a ladder right there that you can access the trail from the river. That's pretty cool. Let's walk in there for a second. You can see that little area right there. So just wanted to go in that little cut real quick. But just as quick as we go across the little boardwalk, we're back onto it. Back onto the natural trail. Again, a little slow going for first time here, understanding the trail. Again, if you run this or you hike this a lot, you know all the twists and turns. So probably a little slower my first time. That's okay, because I'm enjoying this. I'm in nature, and I'm capturing video for you, and I'm very happy that you're here with me today. Let's keep hiking. So we're approaching the mile 2 marker right here. So it's nestled right here in this fallen tree limb. But it's definitely on point with my Apple Watch that just clocked me at mile 2 as well. So let's keep hiking. So we're approaching the Black Bear Boardwalk number 7. Stop and get a quick picture. As we continue hiking the Black Bear Wilderness Trail, 7.1 miles. And this boardwalk might be extending for a little bit, because we're definitely over the St. John's River. Again, I think this is what they were talking about on the websites and the different resources I could find from the Seminole County. Listen to that bird chirping. Good morning, Mr. Bird. But you can see that these areas allow the marshes to filter in and out. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. So we're really over the St. John's River now. Like I said, I feel happy every time I'm walking over these. It's a treat just to be able to kind of extend out a little bit from the cover of the trees, which, hey, I'm not complaining by any means. That is a beautiful canopy that is covering me for a large amount of the trails, at least at this point. We'll see if that continues throughout. If not, wonder if it goes to more open land, and that'll tell me later on if I want to logistically travel the other direction and allow this to be the mid-morning sun or the afternoon sun. There's a woodpecker. See, that was definitely a long boardwalk, and it still continues. So these are the kind of the unique features of the trail that I like to show you, because I'm smiling right now. Listen to that woodpecker. Guess he's eating breakfast. I think so far this has to be one of my favorite trails, because they're all different. I think each place that I've been, to nature preserves, to the prairies, to the beach, they all have their unique features. And as soon as we started that boardwalk, we're right back onto the natural trail tread. Let's keep hiking. All right, we are approaching another quarter-mile marker here. 2.25 miles right here. Let's get a picture. And let's keep hiking. I just passed a wild hog on the right side of the trail, more towards the river. And I hear more on the left side, on the other side of the levee. You can hear them kind of snorting, making noises, communicating. It's cool to see them. You just walk up on them and they're just kind of there. They're big. Let's go ahead and keep hiking and enjoy the trail. I just walked up on this area of the trail, and I want to show to you how the sun is coming through here, through the canopy, through the trees. As the trail continues to twist and turn on this levee right next to the St. Johns River in Seminole County and Sanford, Florida. I was researching this park, and I did find that it's 1,650 acres, which is good size. I mean, it's a 7.1 mile hike. Now, the wilderness area may be a lot larger, but that's where the actual Black Bear Wilderness Trail is. And this is a well-used trail. You can see we're approaching the Black Bear Boardwalk number 8. Let's get a picture of that. And let's walk across this to give us more access to the trail. Getting a little bit slower hiking when we're taking video and pictures versus just a straight up trekking poles in the ground and get to hiking. But that's okay, because that's why we do this, to be able to get the full experience and share that with you on these hikes, because sometimes I know that you may not have the direct access to trailheads like this, or you may be a good distance that you may have to logistically plan for it. Now, this was about 36 miles from my location when I started this morning, so I left about 5:30 this morning, got here a little bit after 6 a.m. to prepare for the trail, get the backpack ready and get fitted and such. And I was on the trail by 6:30, so I was the first one in the parking lot and first one on the trail this morning. That's what I like. I like being out early, like being up early, get some time to myself, exercise, drink some espresso, work on some videos, plan the day, recheck my logistics for the day's new hike and next trail. So let's continue hiking at the Black Bear Wilderness area and see what we can find next. All right, we're approaching the mile 2.5 marker right here. You can see just continues its beautiful twisting and turning here. So let's keep hiking. All right, we're about to cross the Black Bear Boardwalk number 9, which is a wooden raised platform over this beautiful ecosystem. I know my wife's going to get after me for saying beautiful too many times in this video, but you know what? It's okay, because that's exactly what it is. This green space is absolutely beautiful, and just as quick off that boardwalk or right back onto the natural trail tread, which we're still on top of the levee at this point, and we're looking to possibly extend off of the levee as we head back towards the trailhead, probably in another couple miles or so. Well, let's keep enjoying this canopy of trees and a little cooler in here. So let's keep hiking. All right, we're approaching the 2.7 mile marker right here. You can see that this seems to be they're all on the left side, so that's good to know. Pretty consistent. Again, in case of emergency, this is what you would tell them. You would tell them about their latitude and longitude right here, and that's the idea where they can extract you if need be. So I'm glad they're here on the trail, and they're every quarter mile. So thanks to Seminole County for putting those on here. Let's keep hiking. All right, we're approaching the Black Bear Boardwalk number 10 here. Again, another opportunity to cross over the ecosystem. So I'll take a quick picture of this. I love taking the pictures because it is different than video, obviously, but it allows me to show you a moment in time versus several moments in time, like going across this boardwalk. It's just priceless. Gives you a whole different vantage point, viewpoint of this thriving ecosystem. So we're getting almost to halfway here, or at least nearing, inching towards it. I still see the St. Johns River on my right side, which is just flowing smooth. I hear the insects. I hear an airplane. And just observe all the just raw nature around me, which is ultra special. Let's keep hiking. All right, I've reached the 3-mile marker on the Black Bear Wilderness Trail, and I can hear some boats to my right that are still on the St. Johns River just racing up the river. So everybody's out today. So let's keep hiking. Mile number 3. So on mile number 3, we actually have a primitive campsite area. It can be reserved for up to 6 people. But we're looking right at it right here. But the area is also an inclement weather shelter as well. So it's a multi-use shelter. And it has a picnic table and has a little shelf area down there. And it's, you know what, probably a good space to get a sip of water. So we're almost halfway. So let's get a sip of water here and take a quick break. Let's explore this little shelter real quick, just so we know what's here. You can see it's wooden. It has a picnic table. I see some benches over here and signage as well. There's a lot more picnic tables here. And looks like a little fire pit here too. So yeah, this whole area is designed for the camping. Let's see what this says. So yeah, this is the Black Bear Wilderness Area Primitive Campsite, and it's by permit only. So this looks very nice. We'll have to check this out for a more primitive camping experience. So we're about 3 miles into this beautiful hike at the Black Bear Wilderness Area Trail, and I had to stop and go ahead and get one of these liters down of water and Gatorade to replenish those electrolytes. I'm sweating a lot, and it's not too hot out here, but it is definitely muggy and humid. So we're going to get back on the trail, but I just wanted to say hello to you. And a lot of times you don't get to see my face, you just hear my voice, but at the same time, I like to be on camera so you can see me, and I get to talk to you. So let's keep tracking this trail and see what else we can find. So for now, let's keep hiking. All right, so we're leaving the little shelter area and going right back onto the trail here. Got to go up just a little bit to get on top of that levee. That is definitely a primitive campsite I'm going to explore much further. And actually seeing it from on top of the levee, it's even more appealing. I'm going to turn to my left here for just a second so you can see it. You can see all that area right there is, you can reserve it for up to 6 people. So we'll have to look into that more and make that happen. I think you can also have dogs. But for now, let's keep hiking this 3rd mile. I've got a 1 liter of water and Gatorade in my body, and I feel good, replenished. I resituated the backpack. I moved some water around so empties inside, and put some vital water on the outside so it's accessible pretty quickly if I need it. But right now it's just a very casual walk, casual hike, and we're exploring. So let's keep hiking as we go over the number 11 boardwalk at the Black Bear Wilderness Area. And you see the sun is starting to come up a little bit over the canopy a little bit. It's at 8:15 in the morning. We've been hiking at a leisure pace. We've been taking video, and we stopped to see the primitive camping area and shelter to refuel a little bit with water. And we're going to keep hiking here as it gets a little bit warmer. And I definitely recommend doing this early in the morning. Again, the park opens up at sunrise and it closes at sunset, so you got plenty of time. But again, Florida, you got to deal with heat, rain, bears, and alligators, and mosquitoes. There's a little seating area on the trail. And again, we're still on the 3rd mile here, and we'll keep hiking. And we're approaching the 3.25 mile marker here. Again, here in case of emergency, it gives you the latitude and longitude. I'm going to take a quick picture of this as well. And this is our view. Moving forward, let's keep hiking. I guess we could say we're almost halfway. I would consider it, since it's a 7.1 1 mile hike, approximately it says. I would say, 3.5 miles, 3.75 miles is a good estimate at halfway, a rough estimate. And again, it's been a fun hike, a great adventure so far. We've been going over 10 boardwalks, and just gives an opportunity to get much closer to the St. Johns River and that filter area that the St. John River allows the water to come in and out of the marsh and fuel all of these trees and plants and just lets them thrive. And there is a levee here, but definitely something to consider. Nice hike. All right, we're approaching the Black Bear Boardwalk number 12 to give us another view of the ecosystem. Stop and take a quick picture. Let's keep hiking. Again, I just feel like this is a relief, a treat per se. Every time we go over these boardwalks, I mean, there's 12 of them so far, and kind of refreshing to be able to get the air coming up from the floor of the trail and then around, and it's just very pleasant. So now we're back onto the natural trail tread. So let's keep hiking. Did a little bit of research on the Black Bear Wilderness before coming out today, obviously as part of logistics of making sure I know what I'm getting myself into. But it was definitely a nice site. I mean, it's a mixture of mixed hardwood swamp. It's a floodplain swamp, also a floodplain marsh, and a hydric hammock, which is a habitat in itself that is in association with all the hardwood swamps, and it's almost like a transition to more of a higher upland habitat, to more of a slightly higher elevation, which is pretty neat because there's really only elevation I see is the levee that I'm on right now, but that could change very quickly. And the water resources, like we've seen so far, is obviously the swamp has the water source for the more internal swampy areas, but there's also the St. Johns River to the east, and then which is also part of the Lake Monroe drainage basin, and then to the very northern part of the property is going to be the Yankee Lake drainage basin. But this whole area is just pristine, and I'm so glad they acquired it today as being Seminole County, because there's so many diverse habitats here, and it connects the Wakiva and St. John's basins, as well as the Ocala National Forest, which we're hopefully going to do soon. So we're approaching the 3.5 mile marker. Woohoo! So like I said, this is probably halfway point, or at least part of it. I'm going to take a picture real quick. And let's keep hiking. And I was saying before is that the Ocala State Forest is not too far from here, and I actually had to drive kind of near it when I'm accessing the area. Again, this is just 1,600 acres. and it's in northwest Seminole County, so Sanford area. One of my favorite German restaurants is in Sanford, downtown Sanford. Boardwalks. So a quick hello to them. Hopefully I will see you soon, and we'll definitely see you Oktoberfest, and I will be wearing my lederhosen. It's always fun festivities at Boardwalks. Well, let's continue hiking and enjoy this natural habitat and see what else we can find. Now, these are the technical parts of the trail that I'm very thankful to have my Trekology trekking poles, because we can stay on the trail a little bit better, kind of stick to it as we're maneuvering around a lot of these root systems and not go off balance too much. So that's just a quick example of using the trekking poles to help me maneuver around that pretty good slope there. But this is pretty common on this trail, is some of those big root systems. So make sure you hike carefully. All right, we have reached the 3.75 mile marker. Again, here to help you keep track of where you are on the trail. The 7.1 mile trail, as well as in case of emergency. So let's keep hiking. All right, we've reached the junction where we're gonna start moving away from the St. Johns River and heading back down towards the more, I guess you could say, the swampy areas. But here we're reaching the Black Bear Boardwalk number 13. Take a quick picture. But it shows you almost entering the fourth mile here, that you get a good, pretty much almost literally 4 miles of canopy and walking on the levee on the side where St. Johns River is. And that is just a treat in itself. I mean, walking over these boardwalks is, very special to be able to access these areas. And as we're reaching mile number 4 right now, you can see it right in front of us, the mile marker. Quick picture. And let's keep hiking. So this would be, I guess you could say, the home stretch, but we've got a little ways to go. Again, 7.1 miles is the estimated length of this trail. So let's keep hiking, see what we can find. As we're hiking mile number 4 here, as we continue to hike this, let's talk a little bit about the 4 different plant communities, per se, that are in this Black Bear wilderness area. We got the cypress swamp, we got the shallow marsh, we got the hydric hammock, and we've got mixed hardwood forest, which are all present and accounted for, I'll tell you. And a lot of the literature I was reading was that there's a lot of invasive, which is non-native species of plants that occur on this 7-mile trail. And some of the stuff is new to me, these words and these types of vegetation. It's just fascinating. But I was looking at some of the names of some of these invasive plants, and it's like the air potato, the coral, ardisia, the wild taro, the Caesar's weed. I mean, there's just so many different types of plants and wildlife in this area. We've already seen hogs, we've seen birds, we've seen different landscape here, just like we just looked at. I had to problem solve that when you had that pause there. I said, okay, which way do I want to go? But now we're, obviously on one side of the area away from the river. We're going away from the river now, St. John's River, that is. And, you know, there's a lot of slopes and tree roots and holes, like we were talking about before, on this trail. You know, there is a few people we've seen some trail runners, we've seen some hikers, we've seen different ages on this. I definitely recommend a good pair of shoes, a good hat, some bug spray, especially in the morning, some extra pair of socks. Good trekking sock will do you good. But just being able to maneuver through these trails is actually very challenging, but fun too. I mean, they got squirrels popping out of everywhere. That was that ruckus you just heard to my left. But we're in the floodplain of the St. John's River, so we got to be careful. So a lot of times, especially in the summer, which is the rainy season in Florida, this place may be flooded. Obviously, if the St. John's River floods or gets to capacity, it's going to, of course, filter into this marshy area on the internal side of the levee. Because really, this whole trail is on a levee, other than the boardwalks that we've encountered, which I just have to keep coming back to because those are just very cool. Even though I just came out and just spent some time on the boardwalks or on just that side of this trail, that would be amazing. So we'll have to plan that. And the next time we'll have to plan hiking the opposite direction from the parking lot and then end up at the boardwalks. So this is something to think about, but this is a very unique experience because this canopy in Florida and this ecosystem here, I mean, this trail system was placed perfectly. And I'm so glad Seminole County acquired it and is protecting as best they can. So we all got to do our part, of course. So there's a lot of uneven terrain on this trail, and all the signs point towards, obviously, emergency access is very limited. So if something happens to you, it's going to be interesting on how to access you and get you extracted and get you to safety. But there is plenty of spots that they can potentially extract you from the riverside. But other than that, it's just a rough hike. But look at this going down. Actually going down the slope here. This is the fun parts of the trail, because you can go a little higher on it, but why not? Let's go down to the bottom there and right back to it. So let's keep hiking and see what else we can find on this trail. All right, so we're approaching the 4.25 mile marker right here, and you can see it's there for a case of emergency, as well as just tracking where you are on the trail. So let's get a quick picture and let's keep hiking. All right, let's keep hiking. I like to take the pictures of them just to show the location. I just find it fascinating. I really am studying maps more and distance and using different compasses. I use a Silva compass, but also have a Sunto compass that I recently purchased, because sometimes the maps are in inches versus kilometers, versus kilometers, and you need to be able to adapt pretty quickly measurement wise. But I've done some field work with the Florida Orienteering, which is based out of Central Florida, and learned a lot. You know, we've gone to different trails and did some classroom through REI, and they're gracious to take us out to the field and get us lost, and then let us figure out how to get back to the trail or back to safety, also known as getting unlost, as they call it. But that's just something that's opened my eyes more to navigation, especially if I'm going to be doing some of these through hikes and longer trails like I plan in 2026. So hopefully you'll stay tuned for those videos. Oh, there's a breeze coming through these trees. Oh, it's so beautiful. Let's just sit for just a second. Can you hear the breeze? Wow, that feels good. That's an extra special treat right there. A lot of the tools that are essential to hiking and trekking alike, they get pretty pricey, especially the lighter you go with backpacks and tents and different types of cooking stoves, and all the way down to how you carry the food is pricey. And a lot of times it's very helpful to try to get sponsorship or try to work with some companies. So I'm always open for collaborations with companies, and definitely open to sponsorship from independent donors as well as we bring these videos to you. I plan not to stop these videos by any means. It just definitely helps with logistics, travel, and planning, especially as we get to the through hikes. And really, this is all training for those through hikes. I mean, this trail is definitely a technical trail for me, or the most technical one I've done so far. I think the most challenging one I've done so far, and you wouldn't think of it, but it was the beach trail. And if you check out my video, you'll see how rugged and remote that was. That was a backcountry beach trail in the Canaveral National Seashore, and it was 12.8 miles of pure beach and zero shade, which made it extremely difficult and dangerous. So a lot of different planning and logistics since then, and you'll see a lot of equipment that I use and that I buy and that I'm considering based on my experiences on the previous trail. So I'm always planning for that next trail, and I encourage you to do the same. So I can't do this without you, and I really appreciate you being here today, because I am doing this for you as well as for my own mental health and physical health, because the benefits of hiking on mental health are just amazing. And more I see the research, and it just makes me very happy to have the level of understanding of mental illness and mental health that I do have as a practitioner of psychology. I am a psychologist. At the same time, I'm definitely an adventurer and love to be outdoors. And we're here to talk about mental illness and how can we manage it, holistically, like we're doing today. Just think about the stress reduction and the positive impact on the psyche, the self-esteem, that you say, hey, I'm doing this, I'm making a goal. This is my goal to complete the Black Bear Wilderness Trail, 7.1 miles, which is the same goal it was when I did the beach hike for 12.8 miles. It was definitely a different scenario, but the thinking is very similar. I mean, it's a challenge. And being able to invest the time and the willingness to train for these trails and for longer trails is just phenomenal. Just stepping on the trail, just instant stress reduction, anxiety reduction, any mood issues reduction, in depression reduction, in that negative mood that puts us in that bad spot sometimes of how we think about ourselves, the world, others. And if we can find outlets like this and access them, I mean, hey, this is just going to make a world of difference. And just like access to these trails, I mean, accessing mental health is can be challenging too, but there's a lot of different resources out there, and I'm communicating with some and trying to establish contacts so we can do more with them as well. So I have reached out to NAMI, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and they're obviously national, but I've reached out to Florida to see if we could collaborate and work together so I can possibly do some events as well as support local trail managers and my own adventures and long haul hikes. So we'll see what the future brings. Right now we keep hiking and see what we can find on the Black Bear Wilderness Trail. All right, we reached the mile marker for the 4.5 miles on the trail. I'm gonna take a quick picture. So let's keep hiking. Getting closer to our goal of 7.1 miles, which is back on the boardwalk towards the parking lot. I'll tell you, the sun is up, it's beautiful, and I couldn't ask for better weather. I mean, in Florida, you just plan on sweating, so it doesn't matter. But, you know, certain precautions from obviously the types of shoes you wear, the socks you wear, the clothes you wear. I found myself really enjoying the benefits of the Omni Shade and very light clothing that is offered by Columbia Sportswear. I've been wearing those for years, and they are just built to last. And I'll tell you, they saved my posterior a couple times, especially on the hikes with no shade, because I can roll down the sleeves and protect my skin, as well as wearing the sunscreen and my Tilly hat. Critical items that I have. I always carry an extra pair of socks as well, and depending how much I'm sweating, I may change this halfway or whenever needed. But obviously my Osprey backpack is essential as well. I'm wearing the Stratos 24 liter today. That's my training backpack, and I'm able to easily fit 6 liters of water in that backpack. I found that out on the beach hike that I did recently. But today I'm carrying 4 liters and carrying a rain jacket, which is also a Columbia Sportswear Omni Shade rain jacket, which comes in handy in downpours. But I also have a poncho, and I've been looking at ponchos more and more because they also provide coverage to my backpack. Even though the Osprey has a rain cover, it still can get wet, and your stuff gets wet. So there's a lot of logistics put into just how to carry your stuff, how to carry this equipment, because it is expensive, it is vital, it is life-saving. And you know, from your ultralight tent that weighs 1.2 pounds, like my new Dragonfly Osmo. I mean, it's not less expensive, not cheap by any means. And you know, from that to the rain cover, you want to protect that stuff. You want to protect your equipment, your stove, your fuel, your lighters, your compass. I carry bear spray because there are bears in here. The Florida black bear has been seen in here. And we've had our first encounter. If you haven't seen that video, then everybody reacts differently. You should see how my wife reacted to that. You can definitely see her fight and flight response activate pretty quickly. You just got to remain calm and just remember, you know, sometimes they're just as scared as you. But keeping in mind, you know, obviously, just the technology that's out there. I mean, you talk to folks that have been camping and trekking and hiking for years, and they'll obviously tell you their different takes on equipment and comfort, etc. And really trying to find the happy balance, and working a lot with folks from REI, and Sheila and Randy have been phenomenal. They got a lot of experience with some of the long haul through hikes, especially the AT and the Florida Trail, which are both my goals as well. But they offer classes, they offer their knowledge, which is extremely important when it comes to purchasing equipment. And hey, do I need this or not? And they'll tell you, no, you don't need that. How about consider this versus that type of sleep system, or that type of pillow, or with that type of stove. And just the folks at REI have been very helpful. So hopefully I'll be able to work more with REI and just gain the knowledge from them. I actually have a class tomorrow that I'm going to, that they offer many classes, and sometimes they're at no charge, but there's a option to do a donation, which I gladly do, which benefits more classes and more outreach for REI. So let's keep hiking this trail. We'll talk more in a little bit, but let's just enjoy the trail for a while and listen to the sounds of nature for just a minute or so, and then we'll be back shortly if we find something interesting. All right, we've reached the 4.75 mile marker, and we're going to continue hiking the Black Bear Wilderness Area Trail. Let's keep hiking. Just keep in mind those markers, they're there for a few reasons. Number one, emergency. And in case something happens to you, you can find your nearest one and be able to tell the first responders where you are located, and they can come and get you. Number two, it keeps you on the trail. It tells you where you are on the trail when you're looking at different maps, either on your phone or wherever it may be. I just want to comment, approaching the 5 mile marker point here on the Black Bear Wilderness Trail. And I saw some blue blazes at the beginning of the trail near the parking lot, but other than that, I haven't seen them since. And I've been looking for them, but I don't see them on this trail. I mean, the trail, don't get me wrong, it's well hiked, and it's well marked by obviously the markers that the folks that put up, the Seminole County put up to tell you where you are on the trail, so the mile markers. And that easily marks the trail. I just didn't know that the blue blazes wouldn't be on the trail as well. But again, I'm looking for them, but I haven't seen too many. I know some trails I see yellow blazes and then also blue blazes as well, and they're pretty constant, especially as the trails bob and weave. But I'll keep an eye for them. I just wanted to mention that. So let's keep hiking. All right, so I'm just coming off of the more narrow part of this trail, closer to the 5 mile mark here. And it's definitely opened up. There's a seating area, and it's definitely not as slopey per se as the other parts of the trail that I've been on for the last couple of hours. I kind of like that. I kind of like that slopey trail because it's on the levee, and that's why it's narrow in its parts and a lot of roots and stuff. But that is unique, definitely unique to this trail at the Black Bear Wilderness Area. But again, this is just another ecosystem that we've entered. It's definitely flat. On one side, I'm a little bit closer to the more vegetation, trees, as it slopes down, and then on the other side, I guess it could still be a levee or a raised area here as we go through, because there's water on both sides now, so it just actually raised up more. So definitely interesting parts of this trail. It makes them unique. Let's keep hiking. All right, so we are approaching the 5.25 mile marker on the Black Bear Wilderness Area Trail, and let's keep hiking. I'm gonna turn the camera around for just a little bit and talk to you. We are in the 5-mile range right now. So we've just hit the 5.25-mile marker on the trail. And I'll tell you, there's a difference on this type of trail that's covered in a beautiful lush tree canopy versus being on a open sandy beach or an open prairie that's just brutal with the sun beating down on you. So I will take this any day. Even if it's a 20-mile trek, this would be perfect conditions in this type of a trail. So Black Bear Wilderness Area Trail, phenomenal. I can tell you that this is my favorite trail yet, and there's plenty more to come, but this is definitely my favorite trail so far. And there's a huge difference from even the water consumption that I've accumulated today. So I've only, in 5 miles, I've consumed 1 liter of Gatorade, and I feel fine. And I've got 4 liters total, so I got 3 more liters of water if I need them, and 1 more Gatorade in the mix. So, just plan accordingly. Sometimes I may overpack water, but I don't think there's even such a thing, except for obviously weight, and if you're doing long hauls. So we'll probably use some different types of equipment and devices that allow us to catch water on the trail and filter it. So we'll look into that and see what we can do, and maybe work with some companies to see what their products are. But other than that, this is a beautiful hike. I encourage this for everyone. Obviously, there's certain parts of it that are a little tricky and a little technical, but perfect for folks that want to be challenged. And obviously, mental health is challenged, and you're making sure that you can problem solve, because problem solving is part of mental health. So when you're on a trail, you're constantly problem solving. Which way do I go? Do I take the lower part of this slope or the higher part of the slope? And if I fall, where do I want to fall into, or how do I want to fall, etc. So I don't know. There's just so many variables here, but I just wanted to talk to you and tell you thank you for being with me today. And we're going to round out this hike, 7.1 miles. And hey, I'm going to be back again and again for this trail as I train for the longer trails. So stay tuned, and I look forward to seeing you on the next hike. I just wanted to share with you how peaceful this section of the trail is at the Black Bear Wilderness Area. It's still raised, and you still have obviously swamp on your right, and there's some water there, and like some black water. And to the left, you have your swampy areas as well. But just look at what's in front of us. It's just endless possibilities, and just a beautiful trail, flat. We could go on for miles just walking. The sun's up. It's about 9:30 in the morning, and we started at 6:30, and have been taking our time going over the different boardwalks and taking video and taking pictures and exploring the primitive camping site and the shelter. That was at mile 3, and it's just been an exciting hike. This is a new trail to me, so of course it's going to be a little bit longer, but let's keep hiking and see what we can find. All right, so we are approaching the 5.5 mile marker on the Black Bear Wilderness Area Trail. So we are getting closer to our goal of 7.1 miles. So let's keep hiking. You can hear these bugs just chattering away, and it is loud down here. You never really think about how loud nature can be until you're immersed in it, and you're just the visitor. Everything else around you is just continuing to thrive and continuing to do what it does on a day-to-day basis, just like any society would, or any type of community would per se, because there's several different communities in this wilderness area. And it definitely shows, from the morning part of the hike that the sun was just coming up. I mean, you could definitely hear the birds, and not as many bugs and insects making as much chatter. But the birds were definitely awake. The woodpeckers are definitely thriving in here. And lizards and squirrels, even the wild hogs, they were along the journey to say hello to me this morning as well. So just a fantastic hike, full of every, piece of an ecosystem that I can think of that I've experienced so far, specifically to Florida. But from the swamp to the pine trees and the forest and the wetlands, and even being out on the river, St. John's River, is absolutely beautiful. And the park does very well to provide access to be able to jetty out onto that river. So there's a lot of boardwalks that project out to those, so you can get that little extra experience of a whole different ecosystem. And the morning sun, absolutely beautiful, right on the river. So I definitely encourage taking a little bit of time on the boardwalk, especially near the Johns River, and really absorbing that green space, because that's something I definitely will do my next time around, is just spend a little bit more time on the boardwalks, near the boardwalks, just looking at the rivers. Today I was focused on just exploring the trail and figuring out my bearings, and just making sure that I captured what I could, so I could just formulate a memory map, a visual map in my brain and my mind. So next time I don't really have to take too many pictures of those, or as many videos of the shelter, of the primitive camping space, whereas I can just enjoy more free-flowing, as I say, the nature in front of me. So not by any means am I disappointed by what we did today and capturing what we did. It's just a different perception. But that also gives way for a whole different opportunity next time I'm on this trail, next time I'm in the Black Bear Wilderness area in Sanford, Florida, which is Seminole County, to just be able to absorb it a different way. And I encourage you to do the same if you're local, or if you're traveling to Florida, if you're going to the parks and spending your time in the parks. It's fun. But also, man, that bug is extremely loud. I wish I could measure the decibels of that, but definitely he's trying to get his message across somehow. But as I was saying, if you got a break in the parks, or you're just visiting and maybe family, or here for a wedding, or just here on vacation, make some time for the parks. Make some time to come out in nature. There's 11 national parks in Florida, and one is very close to Orlando, which is the Canaveral National Seashore. And then there's state parks nestled in pretty much every corner across Central Florida, South Florida, North Florida. Recently visited Lake Louisa State Park, and I camped for 2 nights there, and that was a fantastic experience. I've camped at Disney Wilderness Resort with my family, and they've enjoyed that, and that's a whole different experience, obviously, than camping at a Florida State Park, is camping inside of a Disney resort area. But there's perks to each. Obviously, you find your own pathway on that, but explore both ends if you can, and see what you like better. But for now, let's continue hiking and enjoy the Black Bear Wilderness Trail. All right, so we're approaching the 5.75 mile marker on the Black Bear Wilderness area trail. And of course, these are here in case of emergency, and also just to let you know where you are on the trail. So we are gaining ground here and heading towards our goal of the parking lot, which should be around 7.1 miles. So let's keep hiking. As we're crossing an area here, and I finally see a blue blaze. So let's see the blue blaze right here. You can see right here in the post. But that's what I was looking for on the trail, but I don't need them on this trail. But I will take a picture of that blue blaze. So I like the blue blazes, but let's see this. This sign says, caution, alligators, snakes, other wildlife are common in this area. This natural area is home to native wildlife. Some can be dangerous, frightening approaches. Don't feed them, approach them. Keep pets on a leash and keep pets and small children away from the water's edge. Refrain from swimming. Remember, you are in their home. Please be respectful and mindful. So very critical words to remember. So let's keep hiking. I think this is the first time we are actually out in the sun and around the outside of the canopy. So a little open space. That's a pretty neat transition there. I know there was a piece of similar openness on the morning portion of this trail, and it's probably the same access road, but then it quickly, as you can see in front of me, it's quickly going to go and be under cover of the canopy of trees. So very excited to be in the shade again, I'll tell you. So let's keep hiking and see what we can find. All right, there's our 6-mile marker. We've reached it, 6 miles on the Blackbird Wilderness Area Trail. And that means we've got 1.1 miles to go. So let's keep hiking. Now, one thing I said before that I want to put a little bit more information on is that I said that the signs, the mile markers, are always on the left. But that may not be true, depending on which way you actually are hiking this trail. Because I'm hiking it from the parking lot, and then I'm going to the number 1 mile trail marker. And then obviously if you're hiking it from the parking lot the opposite direction, you're going to start at the potentially 7th mile marker and then go down to 1. So then they'll be on your right side. So just want to put that out there because, you know, I was thinking about it a little more as I'm walking is, wait a minute, that's not true. It's not always on your left. Just depends on which way you're hiking. So wanted to put that out there real quick. Let's keep hiking. Just entering the 6th mile of the Black Bear Wilderness Area Trail. And I was looking at my Apple Watch, and I put it in hiking mode for these trails, and I've just recently started to use it. But it says I've been hiking for 3 hours and 7 minutes, and I've burned over 1,000 calories, and we've done 6.3 miles already. So that is definitely meeting some goals, even more so exceeding some goals. But that just tells you that there's a lot of data points that you can use when you're on these trails to kind of keep track of not just the trail and your location in the natural space, the green space that is, but you can also keep track of your body, from your heart rate to the elevation to just so many different parameters depending on how you have them set. So technology is definitely here to stay. Just depends on how you use it. Like I said, I always carry a compass as well, just to make sure I can get my bearings straight if I need to, or battery dies or whatever it may be. But reliance on just one source of information sometimes could get you in trouble. So just be mindful. So definitely bring a map with you. I always carry the map. I have yet not been able to get a map, either online or at the ranger station or even at the trailhead. So use their map, put it together with your phone apps or whatever you may have, and or your watch, etc. Because it's, again, so much technology. But it makes it fun. It makes it fun to be able to track it, and then at the end you're like, wow, I did all that. So as we round out our last mile per se, I just wanted to say thank you for being with me today. This has been a pretty good hike. I mean, it's been over 6 miles now, and we're heading towards our 7.1 mile goal, which should be around the parking lot area, or at least reaching the boardwalk that's ADA accessible near the parking lot. There's only one parking lot here, but definitely been a journey. It's been fun. We've been able to see a lot of different of the ecosystems inside of here, in different communities within the ecosystems, from the St. Johns River that we spent almost literally 4 miles on, and or maybe 3. We spent about 3 miles on it because we had to access it, that area. We were able to access several boardwalks that allowed us to extend a little bit further out onto the St. Johns River, which was very cool. And I encourage you to spend some time on those boardwalks, take pictures, and just catch the views at different parts of the day. We explored the primitive area where you can camp by reservation, and there's also a shelter there that we actually took the pack off and resituated the water, took the empty liter and put it inside and shifted it around a little bit to make it more comfortable and accessible. That's just part of the self-care on the trail. You got to stop sometimes and take a break, and really plan that into the overall big plan per se, because we can walk for forever if we want to. We have reached the 6.25 mile marker, and that means we're getting closer and closer to our goal. Well, let's keep hiking. As we near the end of the trail at the Black Bear Wilderness area in Sanford, Florida, which is also Seminole County, I just wanted to take an opportunity to say thank you again for being with me today and for watching my videos. We've got 23 videos up right now on just specifically the theme of hiking and mental health. We started these videos in Mental Health Month, which is every May, and it was very inspired by the research of how beneficial hiking is on mental health, and that really sparked a motivation internally to say, hey, you know what? I enjoy being outdoors. I want to hike. I want to wear a backpack. I want to carry a compass. But also, hey, I can make videos too, because that's what we do. We make videos. We make videos to inspire. We make videos to show folks the world and to show folks different aspects of the communities, not just out in this beautiful green space, but in other areas as well when we travel or when we're at a different restaurant or whatever it may be. But these videos specifically are focused on hiking and mental health, because we know the benefits of it, because we know that we can inspire and help folks who may be struggling with mental health. And I really hope that, different organizations pick up on this and may reach out to help me with logistics and different types of sponsorships as well. It's tough doing these videos, getting up early and planning and preparing and getting the equipment, but it's well worth it. At the end of the day and end of the hike, it's well worth it, because I know I'm going to capture content and video that is going to inspire and it's going to help somebody that might be struggling. So let's continue hiking. We have reached the Black Bear Boardwalk number 14, and there's the blue blaze right there. Blue blaze. So let's continue hiking on the Black Bear Wilderness Area Trail and just enjoying these last moments in these beautiful ecosystem, actually multiple ecosystems and communities that are inside of this area. Just a quick boardwalk actually puts us right back on. It looks like it reminds me of the levee on the other side that have been doing miles and miles, but it puts us right back onto the trail tread that is elevated a little bit. It's got roots, so nothing that's not familiar from walking the other 5 miles on the same type of trail tread. But it's definitely challenging, but fun, and challenging in a good way. And I wouldn't do this if I didn't like it. And there's a goal. The goal is obviously self-care, personal mental health, personal physical fitness and health. But also the whole idea is to inspire, and do these videos for that whole idea of being able to inspire someone that might be in need of seeing something different, or in need of distraction from anxiety, depression, PTSD, ADHD, sleep issues such as insomnia. Maybe you're stressed out because you're having to take care of, a sibling or an older aging adult, or maybe somebody with Alzheimer's disease. I mean, there's so many scenarios. Maybe you're in a not so healthy relationship and trying to figure out what to do, which way to go. Might be struggling in finances, might be struggling in so many different ways. And maybe, just maybe, this moment on the trail can help you kind of distance from that just for a couple moments and say, hey, there is more to life. There is more in nature. There is more outside of my apartment, my house, wherever you may be living. And all I got to do is change the direction, pick a new direction, make new choices, stop using the substances that are causing problems, stop doing the behaviors that are causing relationship problems or legal problems or whatever it may be. I mean, it's just another option. So I'm glad to do this every chance I have, and I'm finding more and more time to make these videos and be out in nature, so that it's awesome for both you and me. At the same time, I'm doing these videos for you, and I really enjoy doing this. I can't say that enough. So we are probably around the 6.5 mile mark pretty shortly. We've definitely been around this trail because 7.1 miles is not a short trail by any means. And given that this trail has slopes and holes and roots and different boardwalks and different trail tread, it does take time. Obviously, I could run this trail. Do I want to? No. I want to hike it. I want to walk it. I want to enjoy it. I want to slow down, even if it takes me 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever it may be. But this is my time, my space right now. I'm a visitor. The inhabitants in this space are the animals and the insects, and this is their home, and I'm just a visitor, and I'm happy to be here. So let's keep hiking and see what else we could find. All right, we have reached the 6.5 mile marker on the Black Bear Wilderness Area Trail, and that means we're getting closer. So let's keep hiking. All right, we're within the 6.5 mile range. We just passed the 6.5 mile marker, and look at this. This is unique. Wow, look at this bridge. I'm going to take a picture. This is beautiful. That is some definitely different water there, but beautiful. I'm looking left and right here, taking pictures. But let's keep hiking. We're almost to our goal, 7.1 miles. Let's see what we can find in that last push to the end. All right, we've just arrived at the 6.75 mile marker, and we're still on the Black Bear Wilderness Area Trail. And this trail is 7.1 miles, so we're almost to the end. Let's keep hiking and see what we can find, and let's just summarize what we've done today. We have started a hike at 6:30 in the morning. We're approaching 3 hours and 30 minutes of this hike, and we are almost at 7 miles, and it has been a fantastic experience. This, again, I've said it many times throughout the videos, is probably my favorite hike so far. It has got everything. It has got a levee, it has got water, it has boardwalks, several boardwalks. It has different ecosystems, it has swamp, it has trees. And let me tell you, that is probably the most special piece to this, because the canopy of these trees allows you to have shade 99% of the way here, which is awesome. So that makes it a much more pleasant experience. And even in this Florida weather, unpredictable, sometimes predictable. Well, we can predict it's going to be hot. We can predict it's probably going to rain. But it definitely helps with this hike. It makes it so much more tolerable and easier on the body and the mind. Water consumption, I've got plenty of water left. I've got a whole liter of Gatorade left as well. So my leisure hike at my pace, we've just reached the 3 hour and 30 minute mark, and we're closing in on 7 miles. So it has been a great experience. I will be back. I will encourage people to hike this. If you're in Florida, if you live in Florida, if you're local, if you're visiting, and I encourage you to come out and be a visitor in this green space. And again, we are at the Black Bear Wilderness Area in Sanford, Florida. So pretty close to Sanford Airport and not too far from the MCO, which is Orlando Airport. And I'd say about 45 minutes or so from Orlando, depending on where you are in Orlando and any other points close by. But if you really want to see wild Florida and you want to see different ecosystems and really get that experience, there's 7.1 miles waiting for you out here in Sanford, Florida at the Black Bear Wilderness Area Trail. So let's keep hiking, and we will see how this concludes. But thank you for being here today with me to experience this. All right, so we have come almost full circle. We've made it back. This is actually the Black Bear Boardwalk 1. So we've done several of them, and it's been a long time since I've seen one, but this is back to the ADA portion towards the entrance in the parking lot. And this has been a journey. And right now, we're about maybe 10 steps from being full circle, because I'm going to turn left and you're going to see the sign that we started at right here. Welcome to the Black Bear Wilderness Area Loop Trail. 7.1 miles. Time to hike 3.3 to 5 hours. Right now we're at 3.33 hours, so 3.5 hours. So let's head back to the parking lot. So we are on the boardwalk that heads back to the primary parking lot. And it looks a lot different than it did at 6:30 this morning, because that's when we started. And right now it is just north of 10 a.m. and the sun is shining. Definitely different humidity. Not much different. A lot less bugs, but at the same time, it's a whole different experience from early morning to midday, from early morning to mid-morning to afternoon to evening, hiking at the Black Bear Wilderness Area. And this is a 7.1 mile loop. And even just to be able to be on this boardwalk right here that I'm walking on right now is awesome. for folks that may have disability, that may have ADA needs, or folks that just want to spend a little bit of time in nature, or only have a little bit of time to spend, maybe on the way to the airport or on your way to go into an event or something, a conference or something in Orlando or nearby, and you just want to see wild Florida. Well, here it is, friends. It's right here in front of us. And I'm making my way back to the parking lot after 3.5 hours of hiking, 7.1 miles. It was an awesome experience. I encourage everyone to come out and hike the loop at the Black Bear Wilderness Area in Sanford, Florida. We are quickly reaching the sidewalk here from the boardwalk. So that means we're even closer to the parking lot. And again, it's totally different than it was this morning. But I got a smile on the face because it just feels good. It feels good to have achieved my goal. And hey, there's a blue marker here. There's a blue blaze right there. So that makes me happy to see those. That makes me feel I'm out in nature, and that lets me know where I'm going. So really enjoyed this hike, and I look forward to seeing everyone on the next hike. And if you have any recommendations for hikes, let me know. If you have some good ones in your area, or if you have ones that are on your list, let me know. We'll take a look at it and see what the logistics are to hike it and to travel and all that good stuff. So I'm back at the parking lot and happy to have completed the 7.1 mile loop at the Black Bear Wilderness Area. We'll see you on the next trail.